In this video, I'm going to talk about how Aajonus is actually an occult scientist. And so, Aajonus was born with, at an early age, he developed the autism, and with that, he just naturally had a psychic ability. So look, listen to me. Aajonus has all the traits of a highly realized spiritual being. Like, they remember being born, they're very intuitive, psychic naturally, and they have this great knowledge that nobody else has. Like, if you read his book, you'll see how he had near-death experiences where he died and then realized his purpose of life, and like how he turned into the sun and he realized his past lives and all this stuff. So he's had many near-death experiences, which has brought him spiritual realizations. So like, he's just not some normal person. Like, he has lived a very, very, very special, unique life. Like, even if someone wasn't on the Primal diet, they could learn so much just from studying his life. And by studying his life, I mean, like, listen to his stories and his Q&As. Like, he has so much profound wisdom beyond just nutrition. So you look at these stories of yogis, yogis who, like, born in India, Tibet, who meditated for lifetimes, and when they're born as a child, they're automatically, like, very intuitive, right? Like, they're special people. Like, they aren't just some random person. Aajonus is not just some person who got into nutrition as a hobby. Do you know what he went through? How much he suffered? Like, he suffered more than anybody you've ever heard of in your entire life. And he was able to heal. He didn't get into nutrition because he wanted to. He got into it because he had to. The universe gave birth to him, and him specifically, in order to learn what he needed to learn to teach the world the truth of health. Like, he had to learn in order to heal. So a lot of these nutritionists, these hobbyists, they maybe had some slight health issues and they got better. Aajonus was a cripple, paralyzed, crawling on the floor with autism, shitting and throwing up all over himself all day, every day, for years. And he suffered tremendously. And when I say he had autism, I mean, like, severe autism, like completely retarded. Like, he couldn't even, like, understand language, right? And so, like, when he was born, he had this profound memory. He remembered being born, but then once he got a certain vaccine, his memory shut off, and then that's when he went into this autistic daze for like 20 years. And so, through a series of events and a few miracles, to be frank, he experienced some miracles, some blessings of the universe in order to not die. He gradually learned what he learned, and he lost his health multiple times over. So every time he thought he was in the green light, he was in the good, like, he lost his health again multiple times, and he learned more every single time. And so at one point, when he developed his health more, he lost some of his psychic abilities that he had when he was autistic. And he's like, you know what? If I was psychic at one point in my life, I could be psychic again. Because he could read minds, and he just had this extreme intuitive ability. Like, he was a savant mathematical genius as a kid, as a teenager. And so he started learning tarot cards and astrology in order to develop his psychic abilities. And in the last few years, I've gotten into astrology, and now I understand. And so with astrology, you are developing your ability to predict. What does that mean? When I say the ability to predict, someone asks you a question, and you intuitively, the answer pops up in your head, and you don't know why you have that answer. The answer just mysteriously appeared, and you share it. And the ability for you to have these answers is proportional to your clarity, your intuitive ability, which is like, you have to sharpen it through meditation, these practices. So when I'm giving these astrology readings, sometimes I just know. The chart comes to life, and I just know things. I just understand them. And so Aajonus, this is a cult practice. Aajonus is an occult scientist. Occult means it's the metaphysics of the universe. It's the spiritual laws of physics. It's the good, the bad, the bright, and the dark. It's the secret knowledge of the universe. And so it's like Nikola Tesla. You know what the ether is? Like the Cashapp records, like the spiritual knowledge of the universe, you can just tap into that. And so developing your intuitive ability, someone has an inquiry, they have a question. That question contains energy. They're trying to understand this energy. Someone has a question, they're trying to understand something. What is it that they're trying to understand? They're trying to understand this energy, right? And so if you are an intuitive person, they ask you the question, The energy of that question goes into you. And you have the answer because you can spiritually filter out the energy of that question and just know the true essence of it. You didn't have to read a book. You didn't have to do a research or a science experiment. You didn't have to think about it. You just cleared your mind. And by clearing the mind, you allowed the answer to arise in you intuitively. And so, Iridology is an occult practice. It's not some basic science XYZ mathematical thing. It is to an extent, just like astrology is. But Iridology is an occult practice, meaning that not everybody can do it. Aajonus, he clearly said that when he tried to teach people Iridology, some people could literally not see what he saw. Like he could see the spiritual, these things in the eye that nobody else could see. These colors, these, forgot the word, I need to suck an egg. I haven't ate my first meat meal today yet. But he could see these things in the iris that nobody else could see. And some people could see it, but not everybody. And so people would get frustrated and want refunds because they thought he was just full of shit. But some people had the intuitive ability and some people didn't. So some people literally can't do Iridology because they don't have the psychic ability to see what he could see in the iris. And so to become a good astrologer, to become an iridologist, you have to meditate. You have to develop your psychic ability. What is the psychic ability? It's the ability to understand energy. It's to see the true nature of things. It's to clear your mind and have the answer just mysteriously appear inside of it. And so an occultist, this is the 8th house in astrology, which is secret knowledge. It's research. Aajonus had a very strong 8th house activation in his chart, which allowed him to access this secret hidden knowledge. A researcher, someone who's going to discover new information that's never been discovered in all of history, that's not in papers, it's not in science, that's the 8th house. It's the occult. It's astrology. Iridology is the 8th house. It's not some book smarts. It's not going to school. This is discovering information that's never existed before. So you want to really know new information, you have to become an occultist. You have to meditate. You have to become a psychic. You can't just read books. You can't just do experiments. When Aajonus did these experiments, he had this intuitive realization, and then he proved it with his experiments. So Aajonus discovered information that has never existed in all of history. Right? Some of it has kind of existed in certain ways, but he fine-tuned it, and some of the things he knows is completely brand new information. So these other people who, they're not spiritually awakened, they're not going to discover these spiritual truths of the universe because they're not occult practitioners. I'm not saying to look into Lester Crowley, who's a Satanist. I'm not saying to work with demons or any of this stuff. It just develop your psychic intuitive ability. You're not going to learn this stuff by watching YouTube videos. You're not going to learn this stuff by reading books. He is manifesting new information into reality. These are eternal truths that he's just rediscovering. Or is it even rediscovering? Or humanity is tapping into for the first time. And so, like I said, as I've begun learning Vedic astrology, not fake, tropical astrology, which is all inaccurate, it's very problematic. The popular astrology, it's mostly BS. Like, if you're going to become an astrologer, you have to become a very serious meditation practitioner to develop your psychic ability. You cannot do astrology very, very effectively if you're not psychic. So, you can learn the combinations in the charts and you can give predictions, yeah, but like to make these amazing, super profound, impossibly accurate predictions, you have to become the psychic, right? And so, yes, even learning Western astrology can help you develop your intuitive abilities, your psychic abilities. So I don't know if Aajonus did Vedic or Western, but his Vedic chart is online. He did know Vedic astrologers because they posted his information online. So now after starting to learn the astrology, I'm finally beginning to understand, like, wow, Aajonus wasn't just someone who studied. This, when I say research, it's the 8th house. It's not reading a book. It's not higher education. This 8th house energy is that it's the hidden things. It's the things that people are unaware of. And it's things that are hidden. That's how he developed Iridology. He didn't learn Iridology from anybody else. He learned the very basics from other people, and he completely reinvented the entire system of Iridology. Nobody else in existence can do Iridology like Aajonus did. So reading an iris is just like reading an astrology chart. So if you want to learn Iridology, you should learn astrology first.